So, what a great start to the event, the conference here today. And we started big picture. And so Jessica was talking about business in 2020. And then we got the millennials involved, and you got to hear, exactly what they're thinking, what they're using. I mean, we could have asked questions on and on. And of course, this is a social media conference, so we want to start drilling now into what's happening, what's changing in social media. And for my time period here today, I want to kind of give you some big shifts on what's happening, where it's going, and I'm gonna touch on a few keys that are going to be important shifts today. And I'm going to point you towards some of the sessions that are coming, because they're going to drill into detail later on today with some different ones. I mean, over the next 2 days, you've got Facebook ads later today. We've got Facebook Notes. We've got Pinterest. We've got Blab. You got some different things like that. So I'm going to set some stage on what's happening and then drill you into those pieces. And to do that, I'm going to use movies. All right, so you're going to see a lot of different pictures from movies today as a visual representation of the key point that I want to make in each of those. So I'm starting out with Back to the Future. If you remember that movie, it's based in 1985, Michael J. Fox, and he had to go back to 1955, right? And so he was thrust back there. He had to make sure his parents stayed together. And it was all about, there was shifts going on. Things were crazy because he was back then, but he was using, his technology, and he was trying to get back to 1985. So it was a crazy time. That was kind of, the basis of the movie. Lots of crazy things happening. And we're seeing that, and you might feel that with social media today, okay? Doc was, all about things happening, going on, what was happening, how can he use the latest and greatest technology, but it wasn't always tried and true. I mean, there were some hiccups with his technology, but he was experimenting with that. And we have got to be experimenting with some of the latest tools today. It's not that you're going to necessarily use them right away for your business marketing, but you need to stay up with them, and you need to experiment with them, okay? But you can perhaps have some state of confusion along the way with social media today, just because it is changing rapidly. I mean, this thing, there's small business owners out there that are looking at this and saying, a ghost with a bunch of dots. That's what we're saying, a ghost with a bunch of dots. What does that have to do with my business, okay? All right, so we want to dive into that. We want to dive into what those dots are. The QR code that you can follow someone that way on Snapchat. Or maybe it's this one that you've seen this. And a little quick story. This is new in May, right here. Okay, it is Instagram, but they changed their logo. Right, so I was getting ready to speak at an event the next day. Had sent my slides off to them. They had to preview them. And Instagram changes it. And I was like, I got to send you a new one. My logo, it's the old one. We got to be up to date. And so, I mean, that's how fast things change. I had to present the next day, and I had to update the logo. Instagram was changing. Okay, Instagram, at one time didn't have 1-minute videos. It didn't have 15-second videos. It was just photos. It's evolved over the course of time, and so we can sometimes feel bewildered. We can feel as business marketers, we're trying to run our businesses, and it can feel like a state of confusion. How do I keep up with this stuff? That's why you're here, okay? So you're in a good spot, a lot of great sessions coming up. I'm gonna try to add some value to that along the way. But if you're feeling a little bit of confusion, you're looking at Snapchat and you're thinking, what in the world could I do with that? Okay, you're not alone. That's what I'm gonna say. You're not alone. All right, so this is my first movie that I want to run you by, because you're not alone, because we can all feel a little bit like this. All right, we can all feel a little bit like this. Hopefully we're not all doing that together in public, but we can all feel like that. All right, what's the movie? Dances with the Wolves. Kevin Costner's cheeks there for you, okay? All right. So what is happening today out there is that there's a big challenge going on, and that is the speed of change. The speed of change. When you look back over the course of time, we started with the printing press, okay? And then you had a gap of time, so things were not evolving quickly. But then suddenly, we went from typewriter to microprocessor to the computer, okay, to mobile devices, to Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. The speed of change is increasing, and that is a challenge for us. How do we keep up? How do we find relevant marketing opportunities to intersect with our ideal customer today? So that's challenge number one, is the speed of change. And challenge number two is what we call content shock. Now, this is not my term. This is by from a book, Content Code, by a well-known marketer called Mark Schaefer, who's a friend of mine. And Mark wrote a book about content shock. But the principle is that basically the amount of content being created. So when you think of content, this is web pages, this is blog posts, but it's also social media posts. It is videos, okay? It is images. It's anything that you can be consuming online. And the volume, the mass of that content is exceeding the average person's ability to consume that. So there is just so much content out there. And why that's an issue for your business is because your business needs to compete in that realm. You need to be seen, you need to be found, you need to try to reach your ideal customer in the midst of this massive sea of content that is just proliferating, that is growing. Okay, that's a challenge. We're going to talk about ways that you can do that you can find a path to be seen, to be heard, to connect with your ideal audience. And to do that, you need a team. Can you name this movie? Did you buy this? 2? The second one, all right? And that's what this kind of event is. And so I want to applaud you for being here. I mean, I heard doubled attendance from previous years, so that's wonderful. You need to find ways because it's too tough to stay up on your own, all right? So you need a team around you to figure out what is happening with social media. So I was sitting with a number of the speakers at breakfast this morning, and we're just talking and we're interacting, and I'm like, dudes, I got to get my phone out. I got to write some of these things down because they're telling me some new things. And that's part of this teaming. We're sharing information. You're here to learn. You need to interact with people. You need to follow some blogs. You need to follow some podcasts. You need to do some things to keep up because it is always changing. It is always shifting. And you need to stay up with what can help your business get ahead, get seen, connect with your ideal audience today. So we want to move you from this kind of an effect. Anybody know this movie? Liar, Liar. You guys are good. We want to move you to this one. How about that? Can anybody get this one? You can't because that's just from Jim Carrey and Vanity Fair, all right? So that's not a movie. I just threw that one in to test you a little bit here. All right, but let's dive into some of these tools here. This is the landscape. We could go on, but there could be others that are added to this. But here is a key core of the landscape. Now, a lot of you can name a whole bunch of these, so I want you to do something for me, and that is if you can name 5 of these, I want you to stand up right now. Just stand up if you can take a look at that list of those icons, social media networks, and you can get 5 of those, all right? Remain standing if you can get 6. Remain standing if you got 7, 8, 9. Look at it, we're fading. 10, 11, 12. Oh, you shouldn't be up there. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's run through these quick. Top left, we have Facebook. We've got Pinterest. We've got Twitter. We've got with a new logo, right? Okay. Next on the bottom left, we've got Periscope. We've got Meerkat. We've got Ello. ELLO. Okay? Blab. YouTube. And all right, okay? Just that's a little bit of the landscape. And just to note that, yes, it is LO, okay? And that's my coverage of LO today because that's about as relevant as it is for your business right now, okay? We're done with that one. Okay. It was launched. It was out there. It was supposed to be a Facebook killer. Didn't happen. It's still out there. They're still trying to do something, but that's enough. You can move on from that one. I've just saved you a ton of time there in research, okay? So just, you can thank me later for that one. What the big trend is now is, and you heard the millennial panel talking about this, video and live streaming in particular. Now, I do have Snapchat up there, which is not necessarily live streaming, just because you have to take the video and then you have to post it, you have to snap. But I want to include it in there just because it's relevant in the video realm here. But live video is one of the key trends that is happening now that your business needs to be aware of and to be relevant today. It's a way that you can be found, be heard. You can customize, personalize your reach one-to-many to an audience and engage with your audience. So Meerkat was a live streaming app. Okay, we'll talk about, we'll go into Snapchat a little bit further. Periscope, Blab, and Facebook also have live video. They were the last to come in, but are very strong now in the whole live streaming movement. So Meerkat was the first one to come out. And this is just how things change, the rise and fall of apps. So Meerkat came out in about March of 2015, all right? And around March of 2016, they announced a pivot because they were fading so rapidly. They came out strong. Live streaming, this whole thing was cool. You can interact with your audience. People can tune in. It was on mobile devices, and it was connected to Twitter, so you could follow Twitter users that way. Immediately found competition about a month later from Periscope, which was purchased and is owned now by Twitter. Okay, so it became direct competitors. They did largely the same thing, and because of Twitter's power behind it, Periscope outlasted Meerkat and became the kind of a go-to live streaming app on mobile devices, interacting with Twitter in a live stream there. And that's about all I'm going to cover with Meerkat and even Periscope at this point in time. So, but there's opportunities for them, and let's just talk about what you can do with live streaming apps. And we heard this from the millennials, so I just want to back up. That was just so great to hear them say they like to see the behind-the-scenes things. Now, this can work for B2C, but also B2B. Sometimes B2B thinks, what can we do in social media? But you can do live streaming videos. You can do product demos. If you're manufacturing, you can do some things in your plant to show the process of how cool it is, the things that you make, all right? So live video can give people behind the scenes. There's intense competition out there. How do you set yourself apart? And you set yourself apart by connecting. The differential can be who you are, the personalization, the connection that a business, because ultimately business, even on a B2B level, is going to come down to person to person, person to person. So these are things that you can do. Event coverage, an event like this, or if you're at a trade show, you can do things from your booth. You can interview people. You can talk to people. You can interview your marketing director. You can interview your company president or product manager. These types of things, just simple videos where someone can share their story, what they're doing in the business. You can obviously conduct more interviews, but go behind the scenes. There was a viral post on Facebook from a bagel shop, and basically they kind of went behind the scenes and were doing some video of their team in production, making, baking and things like that. And but they were having fun with it. They had music blasting, and they were doing a little shake and a little jig along the way. And people just loved that. They were seeing the behind the scenes. It was beginning to build an affinity with the brand, with the store. So you can do these types of pieces, and live video is a tremendous opportunity to segue and be seen in this. And I'll go into a few more examples of why that is the case as I roll along here. But my last point here is that you can use it to introduce new posts and content. So when you've rolled things out on your website or on your blog, which is important to do, regular content, okay, for SEO purposes and for your footprint online, for people being able to want to come back to have their questions answered, for you to be that resource center. I like what Now Marketing Group team is doing. We do that with our clients as well. Resource centers, we're advocating that. You want to have a resource center on your website. But when you have your content out there, one of the things that you need to think about is you're not done then, okay? Once you've published a new blog post, you're not done. You're just starting because there has to be some promotion, some connection with the content. And you can introduce new posts via a live video or a short video that you upload to the service that you're using, whether that's Facebook, or whether you do a snap about that on Snapchat, whether that's an Instagram video, or whether that's a video that you take and you load to multiple places like that. All right, so think about that concept of introducing your new things, just like you used to do and still do with your email marketing. You may roll some pieces out that way. Think about using video to introduce your content, to give people a way to say, this is what this one's about. This is what we captured. This is what we covered. Come on over to our site, read this, take a look at this, dive into it. Okay, so let's jump back to Snapchat here, go through a couple things. So photo sharing, but video sharing as well. You can record videos. And I think that a lot of people, when they first think of Snapchat, they think of, that's what our kids are using. We don't know what they're doing with it. They're talking with their friends. What in the world would be business uses of that? The key business use right now is the opportunity for stories. Okay, so that's that collection of 10-second videos that you can create. So you can take that 10-second video and you can add to that and you can publish them, and they can all be together over a 24-hour time period. So you can begin to tell a story in 10 seconds. And brands, companies are doing this, and people can follow a brand on Snapchat, and it's an opportunity to the millennials gave a great example of this again, that a discount offer was rolled out. They heard about that, and so they would go into the store. They found that on Snapchat. It was a way to do that, and that's a way to track ROI as well, is that roll out specific unique discounts on specific unique platforms. So if you're only rolling out a specific use code XYZ on Snapchat, when you come into the store, we'll give you 20% off. Then when they come into the store and give you code XYZ, they found that on Snapchat. All right, so that's a way to track those pieces. Now I've got this circled and I've got it scratched out because this is how things change again. That the stories used to be up to 25 seconds, and now you can load on 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, so you can create a minute, whatever you need in a story. So again, all these things change. I thought one of these other stats was interesting, that it talks about here, 70% of Snapchat users are believed to be women. Now, it kind of held true in our panel there. I think our lone male wasn't on Snapchat, period. Okay, so Snapchat is evolving. Snapchat is evolving, and is it right for your business right now? Should you be on it? Do you dive in? What do you do with this? It's time. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. And what I want to do with that is tell you that you need to evaluate, just like Kenny Rogers in The Gambler had to do when he was sitting at the table, okay? With Snapchat, this is what your business needs to do. Is it time to dive in? Know when to hold 'em? Is it time to not do it? When to fold them? When to walk away, or when to run, okay? Your business needs to evaluate, is our audience there? Who we're trying to reach, will they be participating in Snapchat, okay? Maybe, maybe not. So that's what you need to do to be efficient and effective with your time, is to determine, and one of the best ways to do that is to start with your existing great clients, great customers. What do they do? You can talk with them. You can interact with them. Where do they spend time? Well, if you want to find more of them, you probably want to spend time on the platforms where they are spending time. So I'm saying with Snapchat, it's one to evaluate, because the popularity is growing. The demographics are beginning to shift. There's an older demographic coming. They've just started rolling out some opportunities for ads within Snapchat. We see this all the time. Facebook started without a big push on ads. It grew into ads. Instagram, same thing. Twitter has ads within that. This is how a free social media platform makes money, is through ads. And Snapchat has just done some starting points on this along the way. Will that ruin it? Will the millennials run from it when the ads become too much? We have to wait and see. But it's growing in user base, and the demographics are shifting upwards. So the 20-somethings, the 30-somethings, the 40-somethings are starting to get on Snapchat a little bit more. And so it's one to experiment with. Whether your business should jump in or not, it depends on where your ideal customers are spending time. That's why I'm saying the gambler has relevance right here. All right? Now, another thing, though, that even if your audience isn't spending a tremendous amount of time on Snapchat, I'm still recommending you experiment with it, because think of it this way. Snapchat is a video tool. It gives you the ability to create nice, simple, little videos in 10-second segments, stories that you can then download and share on other social media sites. So I can do a story on Snapchat. I can create 6 snaps, 10 seconds, a minute long, okay? I can download that, and then I could use that on Facebook. I could upload it to Facebook. I could upload that to Instagram, all right? It's got a lot of tools for easily customizing different little items in there. So I want you to just think creatively. That's what we want to do today. To be seen, to be found, we have to think about ways we can do stuff, ways we can do stuff efficiently. Instagram can be experimented with as a video customization tool that you can use for your business. So I've been doing some more of this, where I will take a number of snaps. I'm creating a story, but I'm doing it for the purpose of also sharing that on Instagram or on Facebook. All right, so I want you to think about that one. Same thing for Instagram. Instagram gives you the ability, as you're creating a video with Instagram, to stop and take segments. So I can take a 6-second segment, I can take a 15-second segment, I can take a 20-second segment, and that's all together in my video that ultimately is 1 minute in length. I can post that on Instagram. I can also save that, onto my mobile phone, and then upload it and use it somewhere else. Facebook again. All right, so think about the ways that you can multi-purpose, multitask, multi-use these items. Now, one of the trends again in live video was a tool called Blab. And again, recent trend, because it just launched around August of last year. The unique thing about Blab is that it's more desktop-based. There's a mobile app for it, but you get multiple people together, whereas Periscope and Meerkat were basically I am broadcasting, one person broadcasting, and you can do a little bit with it, more than that. But Blab's uniqueness is that you can get up to 4 people live at the same point in time, and then you can have an audience interacting. There's the stream on the side. And again, tied into Twitter users there, but you can have some live action, live activity. I like to think of it as the old days of TV talk shows. You got Ellen, you got Oprah, you got that type of thing. It gives any one of us, any business, the opportunity to do that. You see here, all of us, Jessica, myself, and April, who's going to be speaking later on today. And it is an opportunity to be used for different types of things. Jessica and I do a weekly show on Blab called Magnet Marketers, Tuesday afternoons at 4 o'clock. And we have an audience that's live there with us. But also Blab makes it easy for us to upload that to YouTube and to then embed that in a blog post so we can talk about marketing topics, digital marketing topics. But for your business, again, you might use this as a unique, interactive way to connect with your audience, with your community, by doing interviews. You can interview internally or externally. So internally, again, maybe you want to interview a product manager. Maybe you want to interview someone that is in product development, the marketing manager, the CEO, whatever that is. You can do interviews internally. You could bring in external. You can do industry people, things like that. You can do topical discussions. This is an opportunity to be a resource, to be a learning center, to offer value. Think of it as another concept is that the live webinar opportunity, or simple Q&A times. People have questions about your product. You can invite them in. And we often, you saw the three of us were in there, and so we could then have a audience member. We could say they can ask a question. We'll say, we'll invite you in. So you participate with us. We will make you live for that time period, and we get to talk with them while the audience is there with us. So that is another opportunity for live streaming. People are tuning in to live activities. They want to hear you. They want to see you. And you can reach a broader audience. Maybe you are a local business and you're trying to grow regionally. You're trying to grow nationally. So you can reach one-to-many with tools like this, live video, live streaming. Now, that being said, with Blab, I mean, the verdict is still out on Blab. We don't know where it's going to go. Movie? Braveheart. I heard it, yeah. Okay, this is Braveheart, and you know, he got away in this segment here. He made it through. But ultimately, will it survive? We're not sure on Blab yet. They've had to make some pivots, some changes. What's their model going to be going forward? Is it going to continue to be a marketing tool, or are they going to try to shift more hardcore towards a social media network? Jessica's going to dive into Blab in more detail, but this is one of those things. I'm just saying it's there. It's an opportunity, and you can use it now. Those are ways that you can use it, and it's great again for creating that live interaction, and then also having a video that you can use in other places, upload to your YouTube channel. But where will it be? I don't know. In 6 months, it's one to watch. You have to do those things. Now, moving forward to the big dog, Facebook, still number one in terms of social media use. Okay, in terms of demographics, how about this movie? The Social Network, right? Okay, that was the young Zuckerberg. And it is the only social media platform that is strong in the 50-plus age demographic. The only one that's really cracked that nut. And Facebook is powerful in the key buying power arenas of 30 to 50-year-olds. And it is something that is not lagging behind. You mean there were the days of MySpace, and MySpace, made some changes and began to fade away. They didn't innovate too well, but give Facebook credit. They continue to innovate very well. They used to be a desktop primary platform. Now they're a mobile primary platform. Okay, they have shifted and evolved with time, and they rolled out and they help businesses with their ad network. We'll go into some of those details, but they have evolved, and they have obviously rolled out live video earlier this year to any Facebook profile, any Facebook page. So your business can use live video, and they continue to shift with the times, roll out new tools to allow you to use it for business purposes. So if you thought Facebook page was simply for posting text updates, that is so 2008. Okay, it's like ages ago. All right, it is evolved now, and it's largely people are consuming enormous amounts of content on Facebook. Did you hear the millennials say that they get their news from Facebook? All right, so they're scrolling through, they're spending time in the news feed there. The average Facebook user in the United States is spending 40 minutes a day on Facebook, and at least 12 minutes of that is consumed of video, and live video in particular is continuing to grow. So the number of 12 plus is a recent statistic, and that statistic continues to jump higher and higher. So our means and preferences for consuming the content on Facebook is shifting, and that's important for your business to know. That's important for your business to adapt to, because the video piece, and particularly even live video, is what the trend towards users wanting to consume are. And Facebook helps with that, because when you go live on Facebook from your page, Facebook often will give notifications it will give precedence to that. It will send that higher in the news feed. All right, there's this whole thing about what is shown in the news feed on Facebook. The average Facebook user has the potential to see like 1,500 different posts in one day if they spend all that time on there. Okay, Facebook uses an algorithm to say, of those 1,500 possible posts, what are the most important posts that we think you would like to see? It's individualized, it's personalized to you, and that's based on your past interactions on Facebook, for one, but also other things like, is it a live video, fits into their algorithm as well. So they're giving precedence to live video, meaning that you can, if you have a competitor's Facebook page, your Facebook page, they put out a text post, an image post, and you use a live video, all things equal, you will have a greater chance of being seen by your fans because you're using live video, okay? So we need, again, remember when I talked about the problem number 2, the content overload? We want to be seen. How can we be seen? We need to be aware of these key tools, the key opportunities, what Facebook is giving preference to, and begin trying to utilize those so that we can get in front of our audience. So I just want to come back to that. Challenge number 2 was the whole area of too much content. And I'm not advocating that you do less content. I'm saying that you do need to continue with your content, but we need to find ways, uniquenesses, opportunities within the systems that exist today so that we can be seen. Your business can be seen. I like to call that content ignition. Movie? Hunger Games? Okay? And with this, maybe we'll dive into a couple details here. Content ignition tips. How about this movie? Karate Kid? Okay. What was the more familiar term? Wax on, wax off. There we go. Wax on, wax off. Remember that? And what was it? It was a pattern of repeated behavior. Even these, okay? Pattern of repeated behavior. He was telling them, wax on, wax off. And what was it for? Ultimately, to develop the habit so that when the time came, that was a reflex, right? Okay? But it was developing a repeated pattern. And I'm going to give that to you as a content tip and a trick that I see too many businesses missing today. This kind of comes back to my point about you've got some great content. You've published a video. You have published a new blog post. You've got some great stuff out there, but you then think you're done. You're not done. You just started. You need to find a strategy for sharing that content, okay? And that strategy typically is going to mean finding multiple ways to share that same piece of content, even on the same platform multiple times. Now, I'm not talking about just repeating it in the exact same format, but I'm talking about finding different ways. So when it goes out the first time on Facebook, it might go out as a link post. Hey, we've got some new content. It's about this, and we link it out. Okay, then remember, I talked about doing a video. So you might upload a video and talk about, in 30 seconds what this content is about. If you do a video on Facebook on desktop, they give you the call to action option. So if you're on your computer, it's not available on the mobile device. If you're on your computer and you upload a video, there's an opportunity to say, do you want to link it and use a call to action, which means a button that they will use at the end. You can use one like learn more, buy now. They give you 7, 8 different options there. And you can link it to a particular link so that when the video is done, it will link out to that. So that's a great way to introduce content. Use that call to action. When you've introduced the new blog post, they can click on that and go out to it. So you need to find different ways. Maybe you're going to do an image from the blog post itself some other time on Facebook. And you want to think through your content. And I always try to, when I launch a new blog post, there is always a few key images that are multi-purpose. There's an image in my blog post that is going to work well on Facebook. There's another one that's going to work well on Instagram. That's square, okay? And there's usually going to be a longer one I'm going to try to do, which is going to work well on Pinterest. And I'm trying to think of ways that I can give visual content in my blog post, but also ways that are going to help me use it for tools to share in social media. And I want to do that in multiple ways, multiple opportunities, but I'm going to use video as a part of that. Now, another quick side note with Facebook video is that you know how Facebook videos uploaded autoplay in the newsfeed? Okay? One of the key trends that you need to be aware of now is that people oftentimes will skip the video clicking on it. They will just kind of watch it, but they're not understanding what's happening. So subtitles in the video. Are you seeing that more? When you see a video in the news feed and there's subtitles, what the person is saying, or some type of introduction to that, particularly in the first 6 seconds of a Facebook video, that's becoming more and more important to capture the attention of the audience because they're used to seeing motion now in the autoplay, but they're not clicking through to hear it unless you grab their attention. You grab their attention through the subtitles. To help you with that, I mean, there's tools out there. I'm not going to go into this today, but Hootsuite, Buffer, Post Planner, CoSchedule, Agora Pulse, all of these are platforms where you can schedule out and create ways to send your content out at different times in multiple ways in different fashions. All right, so it's not like you have to go to Twitter, 5 times a day and do this, Facebook 4 times a day and do this, that type of thing. You can begin to create some efficiencies by using tools like that. That's another topic for another day, but you want to find ways to use tools that will help you out to make things more efficient along the way. So my first point there was strategic social sharing. You need to not just think of, I've got this great content and now I'm done, but you need to think about how can I share that in multiple ways, multiple times to reach my audience. The second thing that I want to talk about was video, and I've kind of went through that over the course of this time here, and I've talked about different pieces. There are multiple platforms where you can use video. So when you think of Facebook, I want you to begin thinking more about Facebook as video. What can your business be doing with video? Either video that you upload, video that you create. There are apps for your mobile device where you can take the video, you can edit it by adding those subtitles. And again, you don't have to subtitle the entire video. But if you're making a short video, which is good on Facebook, less than 2 minutes, you can use subtitles in that first 8 seconds to introduce it, to draw someone in, upload it from your mobile device. That is helpful. You can use video on Twitter. One of the tools that I really like on the Twitter mobile app is the opportunity to create a short video. I can record myself. Somebody mentions me on Twitter, I can reply to them and give them a video reply. You want to talk about getting some engagement back, some thanks, some appreciation? Do a video reply to someone. Engage with them that way. When someone mentions you on Twitter, you can use that video tool, turn the camera to yourself, say, hey, thanks. That is so much more than 140 characters when they get a little video from you about your brand that way. Instagram, as I talked about just recently in the past months, went from 15 seconds to 1 minute in video. They're seeing the value of video, all right? And don't forget YouTube. I mean, second most search engine next to Google on the planet today. YouTube is still relevant. You should be posting your videos. You should have that YouTube channel, all right? Think short, think powerful, think resource-rich videos. Did you know that you can load your YouTube videos to Pinterest? Okay, that's another great tool, another way to use the existing content that you have. I already talked about Snapchat, some of the opportunities for video there, both creating stories that you can download, stories that you can upload, and Snapchat even is a video creation tool, and of course Periscope. So these are all video opportunities. Your task, again, is to know where your audience is spending time. Where are they at? What platforms are they on? Where can you reach them? Where can you interact with them? Those are the ones that you want to be investing that time in, all right? And, we got to go into this picture here. Again, the movie, okay? And the position. That's key in this. It was uncommon, okay? This is what ultimately helped him later on when he was in competition was he chose the uncommon method. Okay, his opponent was not ready for that method. Okay, to reach your audience, think about ways that you can be uncommon, that you can do it differently. There's a ton of content out there. Your content needs to be a part of that. How can you set yourself apart? How can you be uncommon? Now, with Facebook, this was my recap on that. I've already talked about it, so I'm not going to go into it in much detail other than to say that things are not equal on Facebook. You can post a text post from your Facebook page. You can post a photo. You can post a video, and you can go live, and they get different reach. The number of fans that would get to see them varies, and it's in that order. Facebook Live is getting the most precedence in the newsfeed. Facebook video loaded to Facebook, not a YouTube video shared on Facebook, but a video loaded to Facebook is second. Okay, third, images. Last, just simple text from your Facebook page. So think about that in your content mix. And again, all these tools are free. I mean, we can go into, and they're going to have a session on Facebook ads later on, even with video ads in Facebook. But these are all tools that are just available for you free if you will take time to experiment with them, to dive in and get involved. Now, my last tip for content ignition is paid advertising, and that is we do need to consider how we can get in front of that exact right audience. And the session today will dive deeper into this, but I mean, it's incredible that for as little as $1 a day, you can get in front of your ideal audience. I like to think of Facebook as the largest human database that businesses have access to today. You can drill into details. You can drill into demographics that are incredible, much more so than just gender, location, and age. You can get into interest, pages that they've liked. You can get into income levels. You can get into all kinds of detail. You can reach people that have been on your website. All kinds of potential ways, and that's a way to get your content to rise to the top, is to pay for it. Okay, just get over the fact that all social media is free. You know, you spend other marketing. I was at a dinner last night, and people were lamenting the amount of dollars that are still spent on telephone book ads and radio spots. Okay, if you would take some of that and put it into Facebook ads that you can target to reach the exact audience, no wasted dollars. Now, no people, demographics that aren't relevant to you, but the exact audience that is interested in your product. You can do that with Facebook ads. Powerful, powerful stuff right there. Paid advertising can also be done on Instagram, Twitter, and what's called retargeting. Now, Instagram ads, again, recent development, past 6 months here. You do that through Facebook, through the Facebook Ad Manager, okay? And why? Instagram is owned by Facebook, okay? And it gives you the opportunity and the advantage of all of Facebook's demographic information to be able to reach your ideal audience on Instagram. Okay, there are uniquenesses with that. You want to use those square images that are gonna work well on Instagram. Twitter, you can also run ads on. I'm not going to go into that in too much detail. And then retargeting is the opportunity to reach your audience that has been on your website. Okay, reach them again. You can do with a pixel on your website. You can reach them when they're back on Facebook, or doing a Google remarketing. You can put that pixel on your website and then reach them on other websites after they visit your website. And you've seen that. That's that whole a business is following you. You've been on and you've taken a look at the latest Ford Explorer on a Ford dealership website, and the next thing you know, there they are when you're over to the news site, and there they are when you're over on Facebook in your news feed. You're seeing the Ford Explorer, Ford Explorer, Ford Explorer, and you're like, well, how these people are tracking me? Yeah, we can do that. Okay, you should be doing that for your business. It's an opportunity. Now, my last point here in the last segment that I want to cover is the need to integrate your online marketing. This is a social media conference, but to be successful with your social media marketing, you need to integrate. And integrate means weaving your web and your social together. And I like to talk about it in this pathway. I'm just going to go over this in broad detail in this digital marketing funnel. I think about it in terms of 6 steps, all right? And it's a dance between your website, between social media, and between email marketing. They are all working together in sync, in harmony, flowing together, all right? So at the top of the funnel, we have attract and engage. And this is not sell, sell, sell. This is not push, push, push. This is not, hey, here's a new product. Hey, do you want to buy this? Hey, hey, hey. This is content that educates, that provides an experience, that entertains. You need to get an understanding that to be on social media for your business forces a need to be social, okay? You can't be a billboard. You can't be a bullhorn. You have to be prepared to be social when you're on social media for your business. And the ways you can do that are to entertain, educate, and provide an experience. This is the bulk of what you should be doing on social media. This is how people get to know you. And this is B2B, this is B2C, because you can share stories, you can share testimonies, you can share about ROI. There are things to share. Now, just a quick example of this is from Starbucks, all right? Starbucks, obviously, we could get our coffee, we could get our smoothies, we could get Frappuccino, we could get all kinds of things there. But their attraction and engagement is to share stories. This is a feel-good story. It's a story about volunteerism, serving the local community, okay? And it's social in style, it's image-based, all right? It's fun. There's no over-the-top selling here whatsoever, okay? But it's got tremendous engagement on it. It tells a story, and it is inviting interaction. How can someone volunteer for an event like this, is what the comment says. And then Starbucks responds to them. They engage back to them. They tell them about this, okay? So I want you to think in this type of terms for your business. What are you doing in your community? What are you doing that you can share about? What are feel-good stories? I always come back to this for realtors. You know, what does a realtor do? What does a homeowner's insurance agency do? Because, you know, not everybody's going to be buying a home every month for sure, right? Not everybody's going to be wanting to change their insurance every month. What are these people supposed to do? Well, you're in a community. You're serving a community. Talk about the community. What's happening? How can you be an advocate for the community, all right? This should be 50% of your content. Here's a post from San Diego by a hotel that I stayed at, and this has nothing to do with the hotel, but it has everything to do with San Diego and the San Diego scene. And if you're staying in San Diego, something you might want to check out, craft beer scene, all right? It is a post that is educational, that is resource rich, that is just helping you have a good experience while you are in San Diego, okay? Think through that. How can your company provide a resource, add value in your posts? And 50% of your social media content mix should just be in that top quadrant of attraction or engagement. 50%. Okay? That is the chumming of the waters, so to speak, before fishing begins. Okay? The next is mid-funnel, where there is some fishing that occurs. You've got that content out there. You're building a community. You're building an audience. They're interacting with you. And now you're beginning to put some posts in there that offer opportunities to come to your website. And on your website is where your soft call to action lead captures would be, where you offer them another resource, okay? And this is one of the biggest gap areas that I see on websites today is the failure to have any type of call to action lead capture on their website or to do that well. And why do you need that? It's because 70% of people who come to your website may never come back again. So if you don't interact with them well on that first opportunity, and it has to be mobile responsive, has to work well on a mobile device, they're going to be gone and they're never going to come back. But can you give them some opportunity to engage with you, to interact with you, to offer them a resource where in exchange for their name and their email address, you're giving them something of value, an ebook, or whatever that is, because a lot of them are not ready to buy right away, but you want to have points of contact with them because it takes typically around 7 points of contact for someone to be ready to buy from your business, to trust your business enough, or to be ready to be in that state where they're ready to purchase it. So by interacting with them over the course of time, if you've reached them on Facebook or on Instagram with an ad, okay, that might be point one contact. And then they have followed you. They have become a fan of your page so that they see another post. That was point number 2. And in that post, they comment on something. You responded to them. That was point number 3 of contact. Then you put a post out that had a link that came over to your website to some of your newest content. They watched that little video that took them over here. Now they're on the website, point 4, point 5 of contact. When they're on the website, can we capture them, name and email address, and give them a resource? I just want to give you a quick example from the most non-sexy business that I know of. This is, refurbished MRI machines, all right? Refurbished MRI. These guys have a challenge, right? But they're knocking it out of the park by offering value and resource in the B2B realm, okay? So they're helping the hospital, the healthcare industry, think through what you need to know about buying a imaging machine by offering a resource like this, the C-Arm Buyer's Guide, okay? So if you come over here, you can watch this video, you can download this, you can get on their mailing list, and this is the things you need to be aware of when you're going to buy a MRI machine, all right? So when that business ultimately is ready to make a MRI machine purchase, do you think this business might be in consideration for their business? Absolutely, all right? Absolutely. Now, the final thing as I wind down here is that you need to capture them and get them into the email marketing funnel where you can nurture them. Marketing automation, there's going to be others that are going to be talking about this more. So I'm setting the stage for some things, but this is how this all works together. Social can bring them over to your website, okay, where you need to be engaging them, capturing them, and then at the bottom of the funnel is where it's 20% of your mix there, where you're offering something specific, a time-specific offer. This is what too many people err on doing too much of. They're flipping the percentages, and they're doing 50, 60% in this push of product area, and that's why their social media is not succeeding. They haven't built the community. They haven't interacted. They haven't built trust. All right, so a quick snapshot of that, again, is to attract, engage 50% of your content. Capture leads, 30%. Offers is 20%. All right? Going back to my movies as I close here. What was this one? American Sniper. Okay? He was laser focused, right? Long distance. He was laser focused. You need to take a look at your social media marketing. Where do you need to be spending the majority of your time? Okay? Some of these won't be relevant to your business now, and so those you just want to experiment with. You want to find ways to be aware of them in case they begin to take off and you need to get used to them, but you don't want to spend too much time on them if your audience is not there. So where do you need to focus? Remember, what's this movie? Okay. It's not about if you build it, they will come. It's not. You have to put effort in, okay? It's not about if we've got a social media account, they will come. You are going to have to use it. You're going to have to evolve with it. You're going to have to interact with it. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, all right? And remember this, ignite your content. Find ways to ignite, to be uncommon. So dig in. Thank you for your time.